Hello, Year 9, and welcome to the third lesson of this week. And this is our assessment lesson. Okay, this is Mr. McGettigan talking to you, hunkered down in my dining room, and I hope everybody is well. So, this lesson is very good. It's going to be very little input from me. If you need a little bit of input, I recommend you go back to Mondays and Wednesdays lessons where I went through some extract work with you and I went through some planning things with you. For those of you that really want to push yourselves into that kind of top category, mastering that GCSE grade 7, 8 or 9, I recommend you look at the last part of the last of Wednesday's lesson, because that's where I really talked about kind of pushing your ideas further, that analysis turning into evaluation, that kind of thing. But in today's lesson, you're going to use the planning and the work that you've done in the last two lessons to write your essay. And very basically, this is the outline of the work that you should do. Okay, so you should write an introduction paragraph, 4 sentences tops. Okay, and then 4 paragraphs really exploring the character, and then a conclusion. Now, a quick note: you don't have to use this plan. This plan relates to the planning sheets that we looked at in our last lesson, and this is just for those students that feel they need a little bit of help with their planning, but this isn't exactly how it should be done. This is very much just us giving an example of how it could be done. Okay, so if you plan differently, that's great. This is for students who need a bit of structure given to them. Okay, so introduction, 4 paragraphs, and a conclusion. That's it. Okay, so we'll just move through. You should have a plan now. If you haven't, I suggest you go through the planning sheets and Wednesday's lesson to help you do that. If you haven't got your plan, I suggest you have your plan ready before you even start to write. Okay, so if you've got your plan, let's mooch on. So your introduction paragraph should really focus on what is the question asking us, and we know that the question is asking us about Steinbeck and how he presents the character of Curly's wife throughout the novel. Okay, what is the book about? You can write in 2 sentences or less, so you could say it is the story of 2 men arriving at a bunkhouse and it ends up in tragedy. Really basic, that kind of thing. What characters will this essay explore? Well, we know that it's going to be exploring Curly's wife, but you might want to think about Curly's wife and her relationship to other characters, and you might want to mention them here. And then how would you describe these characters? And I would say, if you're talking about Curly's wife and you've got your plan about how she's presented, use those key words. So if you're going to write a paragraph about how she's dangerous, use the word dangerous in this part of your introduction. If you're going to write a paragraph about how she is a victim, use that word victim here as well. So this last part of your introduction really should just kind of give a bit of a roadmap for what you're going to do in the rest of the essay. Okay, sorry to sound like Boris Johnson there. Okay, so write your introduction now. Pause this video so that you've got that done, and then restart the video when it's done completely. Okay. Right, we should be ready to move on now. Okay, so now you're going to write your PEA paragraphs, and you might plan that all very differently, so I'm just going to give you a little bit of an idea as to what that should look like. Okay, you need to make sure in each of your PEA paragraphs, I would say 3 or 4 is what we're looking for. Say something about how the characters are presented, give your evidence, use a quotation to back up your point, and your analysis and evaluation. Okay, discuss what this says about the character, what your evidence is saying about the character, what does it say about the time it was set, the effect on the reader, links to other characters or points in the story. Do not simply repeat the point. So if you're saying Curly's wife is presented as dangerous, we can see this in the quote, da, 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 da. This quote shows that she is dangerous. That is not enough. You need to explain why it shows that she's dangerous, why it shows that she is a threat to George and Lenny, or whatever it is you want to say. So do not simply repeat the point. And those of you that did the extra challenge in learning in our last lesson, remember to zoom in and then zoom out. Evaluate what you are writing by talking about the bigger picture here. Okay? So here is an example PEA paragraph. I'll just leave this here. It follows the structure fairly well, and it follows that analysis and evaluation fairly well as well. Okay, I will leave this here as an example. I would like you now to pause the video and write you've written your introduction, now write the main bulk of your essay. That is your PEA paragraphs, 3 or 4 of them. Off you go. Good luck. Okay, you have done that now. Hopefully you've written the main bulk of your essay, and now we just need to wrap it up. We need to write our conclusion. Okay, so very basically, you need to sum up your main points, and in your conclusion, you need to leave your reader with something interesting to think about. So you might want to say, as you can see, Curly's wife is this, she is this, she is this, she is that. And maybe you could say how you think Curly's wife might be seen in modern day. For example, you could say that actually Curly's wife would be right into her Instagram at the moment because she loves the attention that it gives her. You might want to say that Curly's wife might be viewed in a very different way because we see women in a very different way. She might never have been desperate to find a husband, that kind of thing. So in your conclusion, just sum up the main points that you're making and leave your reader with something to think about. Should only really be 2-3 sentences giving a final kind of wrapping up of the points that you want to make. And that, year 9, is your essay assessment finished. You now need to submit this via Show My Homework to your teacher. Okay, so what that means is that if you've been doing it on a Word document or on your computer, you need to send that file to your teacher through Show My Homework. If you have been handwriting it, you need to take a photograph of your work and send it to your teacher. Your teacher will be marking it over the next week, and next Friday's lesson will be the dirt work for this assessment. Okay? Well done everybody who has gone through all of these lessons and finished here. You have done very, very well to get this far. We're going to change slightly what we're doing as we're going through, and this will be the last lesson that you do on Of Mice and Men. It's a very, very, very nice novel to teach, and it's been a real shame that you guys haven't had the opportunity to study this within the classroom, because almost all teachers, English teachers, love teaching Of Mice and Men. It's a very, very fun novel to go through with a class, but such is life, and this is the strange world in which we live at the moment. Well done for all of the work that you've done over the last 2 weeks and last term in the lead up to this assessment. We are all very, very proud of you. Have a lovely weekend, and we will be in touch next week to start the next part of this unit, but it won't be about Of Mice and Men. Bye bye.